lost to Stanton in the semifinals last year in just an absolute classic with most of their players back. Ethan Shaw is just a fantastic quarterback for the Cougars. So they're 1-2. They'll be opposite each other this year. So if we do get that game, which we've all asked for, it will be in Lincoln, which should be fun. But a lot of things to go on in between now and then.
And one of the things to go on, of course, is next Thursday's matchups. And a reminder that we've been with this format for, 3 or 4 years now, where we actually have in the 8-man brackets, we have a D1 East and a D1 West. So that's where the separation of geography happens. And then once you have those 16 winners, it becomes strictly off the points, right? And then you have the 1 seed versus the 16, the 2 versus the 15, so on and so forth, and play your way to Lincoln. So you get the 2 different sides of a bracket at that point. So when we talk about D1 East, those are the 8 matchups that we will see. And let's talk about D1 East. Here are your official bracket matchups for the class. You'll see Stanton there at the top. They're the if we were going to make an East-West split, we got what we wanted. Sandy Creek goes west, Stanton stays east. So like Tony said, if it happens, that would potentially be a Lincoln-type game. But Stanton's got to get through Clarkson Lee first. Of course, a great championship pedigree there with the Patriots as well. Crofton was in a semifinal last year. They will host Bloomfield. Hey, there's a not far drive. By the way, it's always fun. This is the time when everyone should also have Google Maps pulled up and start looking at distances traveled, because it does get a little funny. The East-West splits help, but we still get some good drives in here. Shelby Rising City will get a rematch with McCool Junction. That just happened last night. Shelby won that one big. Guardian Angel Central Catholic will host Pender. By the way, as you look at these matchups and you see the verses, it's the team on the left of verses that is the home team.
The high seed.
They're the higher seed. That's the way we built the bracket or built these matchups. So the higher seed is the host, and they're on the left of the verses for each of these matchups. Hardington Newcastle will host EMF. Johnson Brock got beat by Lord Central Catholic last night, but they're both in the playoffs. Johnson Brock will host Thayer Central, and Lord Central Catholic will host Wisner Pilger. That's not a short drive there. And then Plainview hosting East Butler in that matchup as well. So this is the D1 East side. Tony, just some quick thoughts, and then we'll get to the West.
Yeah, quick thoughts. Again, Stanton, we really like them. Remember now, as you're looking at these teams aren't going to play until all the way to the finals. They'll get these teams will be re-bracketed next week after these games. So even if Stanton and Sandy Creek were on the same side, they could still be opposite sides in the 16. So a couple I'm looking at right here, just briefly. I think their Central and Johnson Brock is an outstanding first round matchup. I had the chance to see their Central play Sandy Creek earlier this year. Really impressed with Sam Sourdike, the kind of running back he is. So I think that'll be an intriguing one. 8-9s are always kind of intriguing. I think those teams landed like 15, 16 in the overall bracket. So you're getting a good one there. And then another one that I believe could be interesting is Pender and Guardian Angel Central Catholic. You have Pender at 5-3, GACC, kind of a, I don't know if I can call them a surprise. They got that pedigree, but they haven't been an 8-0 type football team for the last few years. So great regular season for GACC. But this was a 34-14 game on October 4th. And 34-14 and 8-man is usually generally a little closer than you think it is. So maybe 1, 2, 3 plays in that football game, and maybe Pender feels okay about having to play GACC again here. We've seen in this new format, every so often you get that 13 that beats a 4, you get that 12 that beats a 5 when you don't really expect it when you look at the record. So those will be 2 that I'll be interested in. And then I'm also interested in Crofton. Very good football team. Like you said, a semifinalist last year. And then the defense of Shelby Rising City. They played Sandy Creek already. I think he held them under 30 points, which
is pretty good. Pretty good.
Which low. So it'll just be interesting to see if they can get offensive firepower as the bracket moves along and as they advance. I think they're a team that could be a round of 8, round of 14 or that good.
So there's the East teams, and let's get you straight into D1 West. And this is how they will line up for next Thursday's first round games. Sandy Creek is the this will get reshuffled again next week. But Sandy Creek will host Niobrara Verdigris, Summerlin hosting Elkhorn Valley, North Platte St. Patrick's hosting Hemingford, South Loop against Perkins County. Then on the other side, you've got Pleasanton, who's been a nice surprise this year. Dundee County Stratton is always somewhere deep in the playoffs. They host Boyd County. Arapahoe hosting Sutton. Sutton, Sandy Creek come out of the SNC. If you would have told me when I was a kid that Sutton and Sandy Creek are a West team, I'd know. But here we are. Sutton goes to Arapahoe, and then Ravenna at Bridgeport is your other matchups out west. This one, it will be interesting to see not only the matchups that come from these games, like winners come out, but how they stack up, I think, in that next round once we get to the bracket. But like we said, you've got Sandy Creek, and we know we're going to have Stanton opposite because they did get 1 and 2 seeds, respectively.
Yeah, you look at Pleasanton undefeated. The schedule's not been, it doesn't overwhelm you, but they beat Ravenna 6-2, and then they also beat who's the other 6-2 team? They beat South Loop. So you've got those two teams in there. They're actually in a direct rematch. They played Sand Hills Valley on Thursday, beat them 62-20. So great out there. Pleasanton to be undefeated. The 3 teams I think that you're watching here outside of Pleasanton and Sandy Creek, maybe when we move on, is Dundee County, Stratton, Arapahoe, North Platte, St. Pat, all in the same district. Right. They did the round robin, let's beat each other. None of them are undefeated, none of them are 6-2. So North Platte, St. Pat beat Arapahoe in the regular season finale, and Arapahoe beat Dundee County, Stratton, and Dundee County, Stratton beat North Platte, St. Pat. So you got those 3 teams who I think very similar. Summerland, as we mentioned before, they had a 10-point game with Stanton earlier this year. So man, when you look at those 4 teams, I think you've got 4 to 5 really powerful teams on that side who, with this bracket, moves on to 16 teams. You could have maybe 4. You could have maybe 5 or 6 of the teams that might advance to the final 8 here. I don't know. It's going to be you're going to get some really good round of 16 games, I think, here in D1 area. Yep,
and it's been something that the East-West split has avoided when we got to the bracket was the really lopsided games. There's still probably going to be a couple of those, kind of no matter what, just because of so many teams making this round in particular. But there's the West. We'll show the East again real quick. Stanton, again, the 1 seed in the East. Sandy Creek, the 1 seed in the West. So they will be opposites each other because they're the 1 and 2 seeds overall. We shouldn't say that it's 1 in the East, 1 in the West. But they did get the 1 seed overall and the 1 and the 2 seed overall. So they will be split when a bracket does come in. And we've just put bulletin board material up for Clarkson Lee. I think as well as
Wilkie. I'm just looking at the stats. I don't know if their last game is in, might not be, but 1,471 yards. It looks like in their first 7 games. So pretty good stuff.
Yeah, they were so dominant last year. It was a lot of fun to watch. So that is kind of how they are going to stack up, at least for now. We are going to take a short commercial break because we have got the D2 matchups ready to go. We got to finish the graphics so they look just as nice as D1. So come back with us. This is Behind the Bracket on StrivSports.com.
At Striv Education, we understand that the world is digital and that teaching digital media and broadcasting in the classroom can be overwhelming.
That's where we step in. We offer personalized coaching and innovative curriculum, guiding educators to integrate these critical skills into their teaching.
Our programs transform classrooms into future-ready environments, ensuring students are well-equipped for the ever-evolving digital workforce.
To learn more about how we can serve you, go to strive.education today.
It's thanks to you that we're where we are today. We're proud to watch these communities grow because they're our communities too. Our neighbors, our friends, it's where we live. These are all our hometowns. And no matter what, the people who will continue to serve your needs with the hometown support you know and trust are just down the street. Cornerstone Bank, growing together.
You know that the number 1 reason officials quit is because of verbal abuse from parents and fans. We are losing officials, and we need everyone to respect the ref.
Judges help students to find their voice and become lifelong supporters of the arts. players play, let the coaches coach, let the officials officiate, and let the judges judge.
Limitless. When you believe, there is no limit to what you can achieve. You come to Midland for an education, but you will leave with so much more. We're a small campus with big opportunities, and whatever you need, we'll help you succeed. At Midland, it's your future, your way, with our support every day. Midland University. It's bold, it's an experience, it's family, it's limitless.
By having good sportsmanship, we recognize the hard work and commitment of all teams participating. How we act when we compete also shows who we are as people.
Sportsmanship is going the extra mile to earn the respect of everyone in attendance.
Sportsmanship shouldn't just be on the court, it should also be in the stance and everywhere you go.
Good sportsmanship makes competing in any event more fun, but it comes from more than just the athlete. It comes from parents and coaches too.
Pump up your day.
Pump up my day.
Pump up my day.
Pump up my day.
With Pumped Up Rewards, you can save big on every gallon of gas just by fueling up, and even more by visiting our stores.
Do I have to?
No, to sign up, it's automatic.
Okay, good.
Sign up today at pumpandpantry.com.
Go get it, Zach!
right, we're back. Hopefully the audio just a little bit better than what we were. Internet speed's still waking up here in Henderson, so apologies if you didn't really want to hear us talk anyway. You just wanted to see the graphic, right? That's where we were at. So D1 games are out in the world, and it's time for D2 because the smallest 8-man class gets some fun stuff going. So let's go to the D2 West side first, and there we see Loomis at the top. Loomis will take on Twin Loop, and we get some more fun driving matchups here in Class D2. Get a little bit farther west with some of these schools, and we're kind of all over the place for some of this stuff. So Tony, Loomis Twin Loop is one matchup. St. Mary's taking on Cambridge, also not a short drive. That could be an afternoon kick. Ainsworth hosting Kennesaw. Overton has had a really good year. They had a really good matchup last night. We might talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Taking on Hyannis. And then Sandhills Thedford, boy, the Knights are they're just always there, right? They will take on Maxwell in this first round. Mullen, another team that knows what the playoffs are all about, they will host Axtell. Hitchcock County down in Trenton, they will host Wilcox-Hildreth. And then you've got Central Valley taking on Elm Creek. The Buffaloes will be taking on the Cougars. But some fun stuff in Class D2 out west.
Yeah, you look at number 1, you look at Loomis up on the top there, beating Overton last night 28-26. That was a really good matchup, and that basically was for that 1 seed out on this side. And then I think the eyes generally gravitate towards Sandhills Thedford and what they've been able to do the last few years. Of course, Kyle Cox, one of the better players in all of 8-man football, let alone D2. So this will be interesting. The four unbeaten teams. I think, did I do my math right? No, you have 2 unbeaten teams. My bad, I was looking at Overton there. So you got 4 unbeaten teams. 2 are in the East, 2 are in the West. And so they kind of glide into the 4 top seeds if they all were to win in this D2 bracket. And then you've got number 1, Central Valley, who is 7-1 and just a little bit lower in the points with that loss to Stanton, basically, is what you've got there. So be interesting to see how this bracket shakes out, because somebody will probably tweet me, I do not know who has the Loomis Sandhills Thedford tiebreaker, because that would be the 3-4 seed right there. So you could potentially have a Loomis Central Valley or Sandhills Thedford Central Valley in the quarterfinals, which seems to be maybe around early. So we'll see how this shakes out. But great season for Loomis. And, you like you said, you've got some powers over there. Kennesaw, they've done this a few times. Hitchcock County, they've done this a few times. And it's really be interesting to see. Also, Wilcox-Hildreth up from 6-man this year. So they get in the playoffs and make that trip out to Hitchcock County, which high on my list to see a game at Fairgrounds or Trenton.
Yeah. We've seen a couple streams out there, and it is.
Oh man, it's right up there with Cody Kilgore.
Right. Well, I don't know. Let's not get crazy with that. We might talk Cody Kilgore next week when we have the 6-man brackets revealed. But yeah, Wilcox-Hildreth, you make the mention, moving from 6-man up to 8-man. Riverside did that a few years ago. They had a tremendous run in 6-man, 4 straight state championships, then moved back up into actually moved all the way into D1 and still making playoffs. And in fact, I believe the Chargers, here they are on the
this year.
D2 this year. But here they are on the D2 East side. So this is the East matchups, and Archangels first time in the playoffs. Oh, well, kind of not really. The former Humphrey St. Francis, now Archangels, they are the number 1 on this East side, and BDS.
And number 1 overall.
And Archangels, the number 1 overall, taking on Elgin Public Pope John. BDS up there as one of the top seeds as well. They will take on Lions Decatur Northeast. But those two, it's the same cast of characters, it seems like, at the top, right? With Sandhills Thedford, BDS, Archangels, whatever school it's called now, it's the same kids, it's the same program, it's the same guys doing the great work. There you see Riverside, they will host Windside, and a reminder that as we build these graphics, if you're looking at the versus matchup, it's the team on the left that is at home in this first round. These matchups coming up next Thursday. Howell's Dodge will be hosting Rock. Why not hosting Palmer? High Plains is in the playoffs. They will host Lawrence Nelson. Weeping Waters had another great year. They will host Creighton, and then Bancroft Rosalie hosting Fullerton. And, of course, you see them both on the same side of this particular graphic, but Bancroft Rosalie and Lions Decatur Northeast both in the playoffs this year. They've been co-op for a couple of years. But what do you see out of the two on the east side?
Well, again, you mentioned it. It seems like this could be the bracket from 2004 or 2014 or 2024. So, Archangels, obviously, Coach Kessler, a great job there. BDS, the same coaches there. I think there's still a Weber. There's one more Weber right there at BDS. And then you've got, why not Riverside? This Riverside team, the losses are Archangels and Central Valley in the first 4 weeks. The first 4 weeks they were 2-2. They've won 4 in a row. They seem to be kind of getting their footing here. So this looks like a team that could win not just in this round, but maybe be a quarterfinal team. Howells Dodge, obviously, Mike Spearskin has coached a little football before. I'm hearing they're a little beat up. Archangels gets them 36-6 last night. So you hope that maybe they can heal up, be healthy for a playoff run. And I love the upstart. Just kind of getting High Plains community back in there. They had some great years there with Osceola for a couple of years, but some years on their own at 6-2. And then I think Weeping Water 7-1. The schedule doesn't look great, but they've had some great here, kind of unexpected playoff runs in the last few years. They've beat some teams maybe they shouldn't have, so they've got a little playoff experience there as well. Those will be some interesting. All those teams I kind of just mentioned are in that top 11, 12 of the overall bracket. So that's one of those maybe cause some problems in round 2.
And for sure, no coach who has just seen all of these matchups is talking about the things that happen after next week. Of course, everyone is fully into matchup mode, BDS and Lions Decatur. There is no talk about
our job is to.
That's what you and I do. So, but to look at the points overall, you said we had Archangels as the 1 seed overall. BDS was up there. I think this is going to be. We're going to show you the.
I guess we would know the tiebreaker on Loomis Sandhill Stedford, because Loomis is the 1 overall in the West, and Sandhill Stedford is the 2. So if you're looking at it overall, Sandhill Stedford would be the 4, and Central Valley would be the 5. And that would possibly be a quarterfinal matchup if they were to both win. And gosh, that doesn't seem proper to me. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? You got to beat who you got to beat to get there. So that would be that would be a very interesting quarterfinal matchup if it were to come forward.
We might have to sneak away from Lincoln and State volleyball if that matchup does come to fruition.
Golly sakes!
That's tough. Tough. We're taking a look right now at the D2 West bracket, or the matchups, I should say. And again, the home teams on the left of the versus graphic. So Loomis, St. Mary's, Ainsworth, and Overton at home, along with Sandhill, Thedford, Mullen, Hitchcock County, and Central Valley there as well. Those are the 8 home teams for Class D2. And again, these games, all of the games that we've talked about here today so far, Tony, those games happen next Thursday, while the rest of 11-man and 6-man end their regular season on Friday.
Thursday and Friday.
You'll get a couple Thursday games in there, but for the most part, they will end on Friday. We will do this bracket show again next Saturday. Official release of classes A through C2 in 11-man, D6 in the 6-man brackets. Of course, 8-man will already have the brackets done on Friday, so we won't be necessarily revealing 8-man brackets, but we will definitely break them down and talk about some of these, and we'll see how these games shake out, and then exactly what the points look like and tiebreakers and whatnot when you get to an actual round of 16 bracket. But that will be next Saturday, 8:30 a.m. as well.
And just so people know and kind of can run through this, and again, kudos to the 8-man coaches for, I think this is the best way they've had in a long time of doing this bracket. When they originally came out with this, they were still doing the alternating home away thing. They've now done away with that for at least the first round now. So basically, when they started this bracket, if you were a low seed that won in this round, you could actually host in the next round, and that's not the case anymore.
Right.
So next week, the top 8 seeds who are left We'll host those games. Then we'll go to that alternating version until we get to Memorial Stadium. And then if you're not into this and you've never done it before, the points are locked in. There are no more points going the rest of the way. So what you see for the points is where they will fall on the bracket. They don't get points for winning this next round, and there's no adjustment. So whatever seed you're locked into now is the seed you will get moving forward in that 16-team bracket for D1 and D2.
We're taking a look at the graphic for D1 East right now, and if you missed it earlier this morning, Stanton and Sandy Creek are opposite. They did get the 1 and the 2 seeds, so they would be in a potential bracket. They would be the 1 and 2, so they'd be on opposite sides. So no semifinal matchup for those two teams, but lots of football to get through before then. Some really intriguing stuff. Johnson Brock there, Central was one that is going to be a lot of fun to watch. I love. Johnson Brock is a fun 8-man team to watch. They really get some guys in different spots, some spread stuff, but then they come at you with a little trap and a little power option, and you're like, well, that is not how do we defend all of the passing routes and the power option as well? And it's that's why it's so difficult.
People might also be asking about David City, 6th overall in the playoff points and 8-0 total. They beat Twin River, they beat Wisner Pilger, and they beat Clarkson Lee, who are all playoff teams. Their enrollment is too high for the 8-man. Basically, the 8-man cutoff. Their enrollment is over that, but they're down playing 8-man. So at 8-0, they're ineligible for the playoffs, which is why you don't see them on the bracket.
Yep. Now we're taking a look at the D1 West side. Sandy Creek, like we said, opposite Stanton as the 1 and 2 seeds. Pleasanton will be hosting, though. They'll host Sandhills Valley. Dundee County Stratton will host Boyd County. By the way, that correct me if I'm wrong, that should win for longest drive in the first round.
Dundee County Stratton, Boyd County. Yeah, that's going to be that'll be a trip. I don't remember seeing another one. We usually get a 6-man one that's pretty fun.
Oh yeah.
So next Saturday morning will be interesting. But yeah, I can't think of. I got to say Ravenna Bridgeport is less than that. That'd be the next one that that jumps out at me. So, yeah, I think you're going to win there.
Okay. And also Sutton gets steak salads when they head to Arapahoe as well coming up there next week. North Platte St. Patrick's will host Hemingford. Summerland against Elkhorn Valley, and South Loop against Perkins County. Those are the 8-man matchups. Again, we will go all bracket next week, and we will we'll breeze through these graphics one more time just to show you where everyone will be as a quick recap. But the brackets are out there. The coaches are already starting to prepare, and College Game Day is on somewhere for somebody I know. On mute because
breaking down film.
We got the audio already going. But what is it about when you get a team that makes the playoffs? Maybe they've been there all the time, but when you're that team that makes it for the first time in a while, what does that mean for those guys on the team, the coaches, and the communities they represent as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think as someone who a long time ago made the playoffs and who had a dad who coached in the playoffs. I mean, it's especially at this level. It's the whole town is like, I think about what's going to happen in Benkelman. It's on Thursday afternoon, Benkelman, like, if you wanted to go to the Pinnacle Bank in Benkelman, I don't know if there maybe have one teller or something left there, right? But people are going to go to the game. They're going to be all around, lined up around the field, single file probably almost. And so these are the games that, when all the boys come back, you talk about 5, 10, 15 years down the road, you talk about, the community talks about, they'll talk about it in the convenience store all week, right, when the farmers are getting coffee. In a lot of these places, harvest might stop for 2, 3, 4 hours, so the boys can play a football game, right? And I just think, you're not getting that in Class A. You might get it in Class B, maybe at a few places, but that's what really makes the 8-man playoffs unique is you have these small towns and these communities that are really galvanized together, and they come together around football.
Right.
And so it just makes it, I don't know, it just makes it so much, I don't know, it makes it really cool to me. I don't know, I think you might have saw, I don't know if that was Jeremy Epp that posted that drone shot of Overton Loomis last night. But, I mean, that's what it is. And I know this round it can get a little funky. You're going to see some scores that are not great. They've adjusted the point system to kind of eliminate some of those 2 and 6 teams from getting in that they had a few years ago. But again, I still think this is the best way. People don't like that we have 32 teams in the playoffs. And again, the reason the 8-man coaches are behind this and they want to do it is numbers are down, participation numbers are down. That 9th game generally is teams that, if you are 2 and 6 at this point, or you are 3 and 5, you're generally beat up. So we've expanded the playoffs. We've given these teams who are 4 and 4 or 3 and 5, who are at least fairly healthy, the chance to get that 9th game. But then on the flip side too, we also know that, man, we're only playing 8 games in the regular season or 9 games. These games are limited, man. If you're a high school kid and you only get 36 times to do it, but if you make it to the finals or you make it to the semifinals, you're getting 41, 42, 40, you're getting those. So a lot of these, we talked about all these schools that are, old hat, right? A lot of these kids, if you're from BDS or you're from Howells Dodge, you're not playing 36 games in high school. You're playing 40, 44, 48. You mean playing at Sandhill, Stedford. Right. I mean, you're playing that many games. So that's another thing where you get those extra practices in if you're building a program, really helps. And so it's the best time of year, obviously, right? So, really fun, really cool. And Thursday is my favorite night for these 8-man kids because they get it all to themselves on Thursday, and it's so hard in the next rounds when they do start playing on the Fridays when we've got we got 7 classes, 8 games. That's 56 games. But this Thursday night, this first round night, it's really theirs, and we can try to highlight them as much as we can.
And those team matchups that are the in between, the not the 1 versus 32 matchups, but it's that 14 and 17, 15, 16 matchups. Those type of games are usually the ones, and those are the ones that when we talk about community. That, hey, the farmers will stop. The old guys in town, they'll be like, hey, I'm going to make sure and get my lawn chair up there. Moms will go out at noon and tape down the blankets, in the bleachers.
And you think Johnson Brock, their Central's not going to be full?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's going to be an awesome game.
Up on the hill and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, we'll talk all about this again next week. My sincere thanks to Tony for making the trip this morning. Jeff Stouse, Nate Newhouse, getting brackets to us so that we can release them for you here today.
That really should be like a YouTube video sometime.
That really should be.
Nate Newhouse, like sleeping on the floor the night before, like next Friday night, he'll like have a little cot in his office and he'll be up till 2-3 in the morning, and then he'll wake up at 6:37 to double check, recheck everything. It's really fun. I mean, the not enough thank yous that those guys get is pretty amazing. So, but next week it gets really fun then.
It's really fun because by the way, next week you get this 8-man round on Thursday. You get state cross country in Kearney on Friday. You get the end of the regular season for everybody else on Friday. You have new 8-man brackets that will come out Friday morning. And then Saturday morning, we do this show, 8:30 a.m. We will be at the NSAA office, not waking Nate up because he'll already be awake by the time we get there. But we will have the bracket show again, and we just fall headfirst into the rest of the postseason.
Talk quickly to state softball finals on Monday.
Yes.
The change last year, I just cannot even tell you how awesome, what experience those kids are going to get. Only 2 of the 6 finalists did it last year, Newman and Millard North. So you got 4 new teams that are getting to get that experience in Omaha, so that'll be great. Class A tennis is on Tuesday. Elkhorn Mount Michael wins Class B yesterday. And so, and then state cross country, which has turned into obviously one of my favorite events of the year. So, really, really, really great week. This last week was busy. This week is busy. And then it does kind of taper down a little bit where you just kind of have volleyball and football left then. But, that volleyball weekend is obviously awesome, and especially in this state. And so, the run to Thanksgiving is officially upon us.
Right. Before we let you go, you have got a new little venture with the NSAA. Let's talk about what Harvest Sports and the NSAA have partnered up with, because it's really pretty cool to see some of the stuff that's come out so far, and I know you've got more in the hopper.
Yeah, so we've just partnered up and doing some preview stories on every state event. So if you read last week, we had state girls golf, we had state boys tennis previews out, state softball preview out, and then we're doing some recaps. So with some of those sports, it's just a recap at the end of the event, like girls golf, like boys tennis will be just a recap. Obviously, cross country is one day, so that'll be a recap. We did a Wednesday recap of state softball, and we'll have a state finals preview that the NSA will post up tomorrow. So we'll be talking to some of the coaches involved in the state finals softball. We'll be doing recaps of each round of the football playoffs, much like people who get our Harvest Sports newsletter, be a lot like our newsletter format there for those. And then recaps of all, state volleyball will be doing recaps of all the rounds there. And so just trying to get some of that content up on the NSA homepage so that people can have that, and it's there. It's kind of a scrapbook piece with some good photos and some average writing. And we'll try to maybe find some better writers even than me to do a lot of things. So it's really been fun. Appreciate the NSA, believing in us to be able to do that. And you've known me for a long time, so you know how long I can remember doing stats for state finals in my living room, watching on 10/11. So yeah, it's just really, really cool. And, we really just want to focus, put some highlight on the athletes and the coaches who do so many good things, and the coaches who teach life lessons through all of these sports, whether they be girls golf or football, like ones that you don't ever see and ones that you see all the time. The lessons are exactly the same. And so we just kind of want to highlight those and share those stories with people.
It's been a lot of fun to watch that develop, and we can't wait to see some great football coming up next week. Good luck to all of the 8-man teams on your ventures next Thursday. Safe travels. Some of you have some big travels coming up. We'll do this show again next Saturday morning, 8:30 a.m. We'll see you at the NSA office for the 11-man, 6-man, and 8-man brackets coming up. That's Tony. I'm Eric. Thanks for joining us this morning.